All right, Shalom. Before I start, we give all praises to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachachodash, to honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim wa Akwath, learning, teaching, and truth and sincerity. Another video of the Spirit. Brother Malat from GMS Detroit. This one right here, dealing with a counter argument, another one of those WS's, right? White supremes. Right? There's a common talking point that Edom likes to use to say that, black people, so-called black people, Southern Kingdom, does all the crimes in America. And it simply isn't true. Right? And even when you go look at their own statistics, we find out that the so-called white man commits the most crimes in the United States. And it's obviously and logically, there's more of them inside of the country, right? According to their papers. Then when you look at his nature, right, our people commit them petty crimes, right? Niggas snatch a pocket watch, B&Es, and even in those, so-called white people lead. But what Esau likes to do is misrepresent. He likes to skew things. He likes to over-represent our crimes in the local news. He'll only show you black people and Latino people and Native American people doing shit. But he doesn't like to show when his people do things, right? If they showed the news, of all the crimes that their people were doing daily, they wouldn't be able to turn the damn news off, y'all. Come on now, all right? So this guy, he likes to point the finger, but he's actually the criminal of the earth. And that's all a part of his slander campaign against us as a people, the Israelites, to make us look bad in the eyes of the Heavenly Father and in the eyes of the world. So let this clip play. I got a couple. And we're going to go look at his own statistics and see what they say to prove this man to be a liar. And scriptures, of course.
About half of all prisoners are black. Black Americans about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more.
And we're gonna go see why half of all prisoners are black. Is it because we're supercharged criminals? And once again, I'm not excusing our people's wickedness, because our people do be out here, the wicked one, the two-thirds or two-thirds for a reason. But did we just wake up one day and say, you know what, let's commit massive amounts of crime? Or is the United States, does it give out incentives to criminalize and penalize so-called minorities when you look into the history?
Murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Okay, let's talk about it. These are obviously racist claims, but I will respond to them as if Charlie Kirk were a reasonable person.
Black Americans are about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Wrong. Just 38% of America's prison population is black. That's according to the U.S. government. But it makes you wonder why Charlie feels the need to add an additional 12% to the black prison population. Could it be because his bigoted talking points only work if he exaggerates them? If Charlie were actually looking for the race that makes up half the prison population in the U.S., he'd look no further than white people at 57%.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Wrong. The word "so" is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes.
He's saying "so" as in therefore, as in one could conclude, but Charlie knows he's lying. Even if he hadn't just lied about the black prison population, Charlie is smart enough to know that correlation does not equal causation, but he's hoping that you don't know that. So he deploys the word "so" to make you think he's coming to an obvious conclusion.
So blacks
Instead, he's making an illogical, racist leap. Charlie knows that we don't have usable data about who commits crimes. It's impossible to have that data since so many crimes go both unreported and or unsolved. Charlie knows that we only have data about arrests and convictions. I'll come back to that data in a moment. What's painfully obvious is that Charlie Kirk isn't interested in understanding the statistics he so carelessly misquotes. He's interested in making bad faith arguments. Something that becomes even more obvious in his next point.
blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong again, and loud this time. If Charlie were interested in honesty, he would have mentioned the other 1350 statistic. Yes, black people are about 13% of the population, but make up 53% of all criminal exonerations. In fact, black people make up 55% of all murder exonerations specific, black people are more likely than any other group in this country to be convicted of crimes they did not commit. And then people like you have the nerve to parade these stats around as though they prove something. The reality is that you probably know these stats, but you leave them out on purpose, because to bring that stat into this conversation would make some people think. And that's the last thing a person like you wants.
Yep, so Edom blatantly will lie, bend the truth, right, not be honest. And that's what they have to do, right, to make us look bad. So he, even a Jake in the World called him out on his BS. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go pull some of them up. We'll get some scriptures here, of course. Where is, oh, damn, it's all the way up there. Tripping. I usually put it in the middle of the screen. Up. Now, right here, this is from the FBI, 2019, all right, their database on crimes. And like he said, this is what arrests and convictions, right? Crimes truly, they go unreported. So if we really had all the facts, the fact of the matter is the so-called white man does the majority of the crimes on planet Earth. Keep it a buck. I just did the video yesterday dealing with apartheid. Y'all commit the most war crimes, the most crimes against humanity, the most sexual predator crimes, and I got a link for that too, because that's a big one they don't like to talk about. Who's out here? Why are all these children going missing? Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, all these powerful white men who sexually abuse people in lesser positions if they want to raise. We're not doing that. We don't have the power. Y'all do. So let's look at this. It says what? You have the crimes on the left. You have white and black. You can see it all right here if you look around. Total is what for the year 2019? 6 million. Murder and non-negligent manslaughter. This is the only one we're leading in right here this year. 4,078 to 3,650. Look at grape, y'all. Who's grape for 2019 for so-called white males? 11,588. For black males, 4,427. Nigga, they did more than 2 times the amount of grape. Robbery, we got them on that, 25,000 to 29. Like I said, petty crimes. And most of these crimes that so-called black people do, they do them to themselves. So white folk are not in danger like that. Wow, aggravated assault, 169,000 to 91. They beat us in that. Burglary, 81,000 to 34,000. They beat us in that. Larceny theft, 393,000 to 178. They beat us in that. Motor vehicle theft, 38 to 16,000. They beat us in that. Arson, 4,000 to 1,500. They beat us in that. Violent crime, 209,000 to 129. They beat us in that. Y'all, so the dude was clearly lying. You come look these things up, he's clearly lying. And like the Jake said, he's banking on the fact that you don't know these kinds of things. All right. And then also that guy, because Matt Walsh does the same thing. You have certain so-called white male influencers. They're trying to corral the spirits of their fellow white male Americans. And to do so, one of the things they like to do is lie, right? You need to get that spirit back of your forefathers. So, fuck these niggers, all that BS. Sexual offenses, it says except rape and prostitution, 21 to 5,000. So, come on, y'all. We're looking at the numbers. And crimes tend to go up yearly rather than go down. So you see you see the fact that these guys are doing more than us. When you can remember right here, left was the white, black was the right side. And when you add up all the numbers for 2019 alone, it said what? 4.7 million to 1.8 million. They did more than twice the amount of crimes. But what, y'all? He's painted as an angel in this world. So, of course, he's not going to have that reputation. So that's why we get things like this, a oldie but goodie. And it's going to be a glorious day for justice to finally be served on this dude. Because he's running around on the earth lying, y'all. lying his ass off. But since the world is in his hands, he has everyone convinced. Psalms 50 and 20. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. Jacob and Esau were brothers. Esau has a slander campaign against our people, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He likes to paint us to be the violent, this and that, right? Which in all nationalities of people have people inside of them that do bad things, not just us. All right. Another thing, they get to throwing that number around. Y'all do the math. If so-called blacks only make up 13% of the population in this country, if 100% of us committed crimes, that means from 2 months old to 128 years old. If 100% of us did nothing but commit crimes all day, we would still be less than their population. Do you understand what I'm saying? If 100% of that 13% did crimes, 13% is still smaller than whites make up between 40 to 50% of the country, something like that. Edomites. Northern Kingdom is like 20, and the other nationalities are sprinkled in, 2s and 3s and 4s and whatnot. It's mathematically impossible for us to do more crimes than them because there's physically less of us in the country, according to their own papers. Does that make sense, y'all? Don't believe the hype. Verse 21, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. All right. So this guy's been getting away with doing all this, and so he truly believes he's the good one and we're the bad ones. But it's not so. He's the bad one and we're the good ones. And when that reversal happens, it's going to shock the shit out of him. Right now, Esau Edom has everybody under his spell. Everybody believes that he's the guy. And, that's how it was prophesied to be. So it's all good. We know what the deal is, but we know this too. When this nigga fall, it's going to be a good day. Revelation 12 and 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. Right. So he's the accuser of us. He likes to point the finger at us in all methods and manners. Yet he's the one doing evil throughout the earth. The big evil, the real evil. Get some more things. All right, and this is some stats on SAs, right? S assault or S abusers. This is what I believe for the year 2018, right? 92% of SAs offenders were men, obviously, right? Because of our anatomy. Male's anatomy. They have the capability. 51.6% were white. 21% were black. 12.9% were Hispanic. 11% were Native American. Right. So us, the Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we literally do less crimes than the so-called white man. He's leading the pack at 51% of SAs. Doing all kinds of things to all kinds of people. Come on now, y'all. But he would have the world believe that he's an angel. And he's not, y'all. He's not. He's a fucking liar at best. We're looking at it right now. You're looking at it. I'm not lying. And 70% of the offenders in cases involving children and involving child nog were white. 70% of the people touching children are white males. So what's really going on in this country? Fuck out of here, man. And these are certain things we already know, because which group of people are always popping up in the news for having child things in their belonging? Did not one of Trump's boys just get popped? Yep, right here. It says what? Texas megachurch pastor and former Trump spiritual advisor Robert Morris has been indicted for the rape of a 12-year-old girl. This is right up in the White House, next to the Oval Office, y'all. So-called white males are always getting caught with some child stuff in their possession and going to do things. We all remember To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen? Why do you think they shut that show down? It was overwhelmingly 90% of the males on there were middle-aged white men that were married, were trying to meet up with, so-called underage people to solicit XES. Come on now. So this whole lie of we do things more, it's just not a lie. Now, once again, are people out here committing wickedness? Yes. Is the Heavenly Father going to punish them for that? Yes. But we're not doing it more than the wicked of the earth. Keep it a whole fucking buck. And that's a part of the prophecy, y'all. He's a vagabond in the earth. He's running around. He's trying to escape his judgment, his punishment. So something that he does is put the blame on everyone else. And this goes all the way back to Cain, Genesis 4:14. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. He is a fugitive and a vagabond. He's running around. He's a criminal, a man guilty, yet he's gone unpunished. So he's always looking left and right, breathing heavy. What about them? What about him? That fuck nigga spirit. Nigga, what about you? Why y'all touching all them babies? Fuck out of here, man. Let me get another, let me get this. Come back.
They tell you this to your face. Black Hispanics between 14 to 21. They must get stopped.
At the end of the month, these officers, whoever don't have that arrest or those few summonses, they're pressured to find something. You might not see nothing. You're supposed to be visible. You might not see anything, but you go hunting, like bounty hunting for an arrest. Locking up some old guy, some homeless guy, finding somebody who's riding a bicycle on the sidewalk, who's spitting, and you bring him in.
The problem is when you go hunting, when you put any type of numbers on a police officer to perform, we are going to go to the most vulnerable.
The most vulnerable.
Of course, we're going to go to LGBT community. We're going to go to the black community. We're going to go to those people that have no vote, that have no power. If we start doing what we're doing in Midtown Manhattan, a phone call to the mayor's office is going to be made. That's going to be the end of it.
We're the predators, they're the prey. The worst thing you can have is a police officer that needs an arrest for the month.
So you're all minorities. How does that make you feel?
It's horrible.
This is something coming from the top that trickles its way down, and this is why we're all here today.
They tell
The United States police force system is incentivized to target minorities. And these aren't the first guys to bring this out at all, right? We know this. So now the question becomes why? Well, remember, how did the so-called penal system begin in this country? Remember convict leasing. This is from convict leasing. This is Wikipedia. It says convict leasing was a system of forced penal labor that was practiced historically in the southern United States before it was formally abolished during the 20th century. And now, even though on paper it was abolished, but it's been carried on through what? The prison corporations, right? Privatized prisons. They make money for off of inmates. They are incentivized to lock up as many people as possible. These different corporations get much of their equipment, and things put together from them dudes in jail. That's why they target, hunt, and hound down minority populations. And like they said, we have less of an ability to defend ourselves in court because we have less resources. Why? Because we're the descendants of slaves and we don't have as much resources passed down to us compared to white folk. Like he just said, if they was in Midtown Manhattan, because them people do shit too, they would get a call from the mayor saying to stop. So once again, they've been caught up in a lie. It says, under this system, private individuals and corporations could lease labor from the state in the form of prisoners, nearly all of whom were black. Prisoners today produce products that have been bought by companies like McDonald's, Walmart, and Cargill. Cargill is a major food corporation. These corporations have their involvement in it. It says the state of Louisiana leased out convicts as early as 1844. The system expanded throughout most of the South with the emancipation of enslaved people at the end of the American Civil War. The practice peaked about 1880 and persisted in various forms until it was abolished by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, so-called, 1941. Right now, then it's on I've seen it on other websites. Before the Civil War, 90% of the prisoners in this country were white males. After the Civil War, 90% became black males. Why is that? Because of this right here. This was the new form of slavery, convict leasing. To the 13th Amendment, y'all. Slavery is abolished except for punishment of a crime. So this was the new form of getting them blacks back working. So they started creating, what's the word? What's that word? What is it? One second. Here we go. Yep. Arbitrary. Yep. Arbitrary. I was getting it mixed up with my nigga from Halo, the Arbiter. The fucking alien nigga. Arbitrary. Based on random choices of personal whim rather than reason or system, right? So they came up with reasons to lock us up based off of their own whims. Let's see what some of them were. Says the system was highly lucrative for both the lessees and state governments. For example, in 1898, 73% of Alabama's annual state revenue came from convict leasing. It says corruption, lack of accountability, and violence resulted in one of the harshest and most exploitative labor systems known in American history. African Americans, mostly adult males, due to vigorous and selective enforcement of laws and discriminatory sentencing, arbitrary, draconian, comprised the vast majority, though not all, of the convicts leased. Right, so devil's doing what they do. This is what they do, y'all. After slavery, they needed a way to get us back working, and so this system has carried on today. It is lucrative for them to criminalize and lock us up. That is why, this whole lifestyle is even promoted to you niggas. They make money off of you and they keep you disconnected from the power. And that's really the bigger thing, y'all, because that's the low level shit, right? They, jail. The spiritual thing behind it, right? The Amalekites have this system set up to keep us in a perpetual state of sin. When we're in that state, we're able to continuously be ruled over. What's the example of that? What's the proof of that? Judith, y'all. Judith 5. We'll start in 17. It says, whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the power that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they, it says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. Right? So when we're in our right mind and doing what's holy, we have protection. We cannot fall. When we're in a bad case with our power, the Heavenly Father Yahweh, then He lets us get opened up on. And this is ultimately why Yahweh Shai came to lay down His life, so that this constant cycle can be broken. So we'll never be allowed to be taken under by these heathen again, and put in this situation again, because this is frustrating. It's frustrating and it's annoying. We know we're the chosen people. We're just sitting here waiting. We're getting fucked over. We got to deal with this shit. We can't do a whole lot about it. It says, but now they are returned to their power and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. Right, so accuser was letting them know what the deal was. And that's what this is really, this is deeper than this, you know, than the surface level shit. That's really what this is about. They have us off balance with our power, and keep it that way so they can maintain power over us. So starting back in here real quick, it says what farmers and businessmen needed to find replacements for their labor force once their slaves had been freed. That's all jail is about. The new form of slavery. That's just simply it. Right? You got documentaries about this on YouTube. On Netflix. Come on. It says after many African American politicians were forced out of state and local positions, right? Because we had, you know, people in offices back then, but what, they forced us out so that we couldn't have any power, and then started tearing our asses up. It says many southern legislators passed black codes to restrict the free movement of black people and force them into employment. For instance, several states made it illegal for a black man to change jobs without the approval of his employer. Wow. If convicted of vagrancy, black people could be imprisoned. So basically, not having a job, not having nothing to do. It says, and they also received sentences for a variety of petty offenses. Right, so jaywalking, right? Were crimes today that they'll get you for: double parking, parking in a handicap, loitering, noise. They started coming up with all kinds of arbitrary laws to have reason and excuse to lock us back up so they can get back to making money off of us. And not only was this in the South, but this is up in the North, right? It tells you right here, places like what? Connecticut, Vermont, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, Upper Canada. Says they disproportionately relied on black prisoners. Come on, man. So that guy, simply put, he just doesn't know what he was talking about. Plain and simple. It says the practice became widespread and was used to supply labor to farming, railroad, mining, and logging operations throughout the South, to which many of these mines and camps that still exist today, that have companies on them, were built by our forefathers as slaves and convict lease prisoners. Come on now. So hey, take that shit and shove it. You know, dog was just talking and talking and talking. We know what the deal is. Y'all are the demons, and soon it's gonna be revealed, and that's gonna be a good day. And I'm gonna end with this, you know, because there's a couple go-tos that I like. Ezekiel 37, Ezekiel 39, Isaiah 61. Right? There's several scriptures that let us know this sentiment, the fact that we're going to be the Heavenly Father is going to make the world know that we're the chosen and that we're His blessed people, despite the reproach that's on us now and all the slander that's on us now. It's going to be known in the sight of the world that, hey, we're that chosen seed. And that's going to be a beautiful time, y'all, for this reputation to come up off of us, right? So it's a great thing of what Yahweh Shai did for us, so that, you know, we can fucking continue on with life. Because this guy Esau, I'll back up some more. There we go. This guy Esau got us down bad. This is Psalms 98:2. It says, Yahweh hath made known his salvation, his righteousness hath he openly showed in the sight of the heathen. He hath remembered his mercy and his truth toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our power. So everybody's going to see us go up. These same people who approach us and point the finger at us, call us this and that, we do all of this, we do all of that. The Heavenly Father's going to make these motherfuckers gnash his teeth, goddammit. We're going to be glorified through Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. It's going to be a good day. So that petty son of a bitch.
Percent of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
So this guy and that reputation are going to be put down, plain and simple. So I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim wa Akwa, learning and teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom.